3 heads, old yang. Three heads, old yang. One tail, 2 heads, young yin. One head, 2 tails, young yang. Two tails, 1 head, young yang. one head, two tails, yin yang. Read a brief passage from Understanding Reality. It's a Taoist alchemical classic, a 10th century text on the principles of inner alchemy. On essence and sense, few people know these are different names from the same source. Both of them, mysterious, are the essential key, preserving life, making the physical being whole, clarifying enhancement and reduction. The purple gold elixir is most marvelous. Spiritual alchemy is accomplished by two medicinal ingredients, one firm, one flexible, nothing else. Firmness belongs to the sense of real knowledge. Flexibility belongs to the essence of conscious knowledge. Though essence and sense have different names, really, they both come from the primordial energy of true unity in non-being. This is what is called the mysterious female in the preceding verse. Mystery and femaleness, mystery upon mystery, are the essential key of the undying valley spirit. In the primordial spontaneous Tao, the valley spirit gives birth to the mysterious female. In the temporal restorative Tao, the mysterious female becomes the valley spirit. If mystery and receptivity do not combine, openness and consciousness do not join. The reason the mysterious female is the essential key is simply that it is that whereby to form the valley spirit. When the mysterious female is established, the valley spirit forms. Thereby can life be preserved and the physical being made whole. And also enhancement by advancing yang and reduction by repelling yin is clarified. When yang is increased until it cannot be increased any further, and yin is reduced until it cannot be reduced any further, when yin is exhausted and yang is pure, the valley spirit lives forever, merged into one energy without any polluting substance, round and bright, clean, naked, free, unconstrained by creation, unharmed by myriad things. It is like the firing process forging purple gold elixir, restoring life from death. Most marvelous. On doing. Starting with doing, people can hardly see. Then when non-doing is reached, everyone knows. If you only see non-doing as the essential marvel, how can you know that doing is the foundation? The real people of ancient times said that essence and life should both be cultivated. So the work requires two stages. One of the paths of spiritual alchemy is cultivating life. One is cultivating essence. The path of cultivating life is the path of doing. The path of cultivating essence is the path of non-doing. The path of doing is prolonging life by certain arts. The path of non-doing is making the being whole by the Tao. Starting with doing means the path of doing is used to build life. The science of building life is carried out entirely according to rules. The essential path of snatching the primal energy before the differentiation of chaos, gripping the mainspring of evolution, turning back the process of time. Heaven and earth cannot know it. Ghosts and spirits cannot fathom it. Divination cannot figure it out. Since even heaven and earth, ghosts and spirits, and divination cannot know it, how can people know? Ending up in non-doing means the path of non-doing is used to cultivate essence. The path of cultivating essence is embracing the fundamental, keeping to unity, all things empty, like a hen incubating an egg, like an oyster embracing a pearl. When this work reaches its consummation, one becomes ultimately truthful and has prescience. The mind of wisdom opens up, and one develops instantaneous comprehension. One has prior understanding of good and bad consequences, so everyone knows. However, if people only know the path of non-doing is the essential marvel, and do not know the path of doing is the foundation, not knowing doing, only non-doing, they are not only unable to cultivate life, they are also unable to cultivate essence. Even if they have some cultivation, this is only cultivation of the acquired nature. How can they cultivate the primordial fundamental essence? The fundamental essence is the essence of the life bestowed by heaven. Originally, essence and life are one, with no duality. Due to mixture with temporal conditioning, yin and yang separate, and one becomes two. Essence and life differentiate. When essence and life are separate, then essence cannot attend to life, and life cannot attend to essence. Life is usurped by things and cannot be autonomous. Essence, too, is disturbed by this. When essence is disturbed and life shaken, false and true are lumped together, reason and desire get mixed up. The artificial handles affairs while the real recedes from its position. Day by day, year by year, negative energy strips away the positive until it is exhausted. So essence and life inevitably break down and perish. Therefore, spiritual alchemy must start with doing, restoring the primordial while in the midst of the temporal, recovering one's original jewel of life. When the jewel of life is in the hand, its control depends on oneself, and it is not moved by creation. At that point, one embraces the fundamental and preserves unity, traveling the path of non-doing, thereby realizing the original essence of real emptiness, directly transcending to the marvelous path of the supreme one vehicle. What can be done for all the quietists who only know non-doing and do not know doing? Our bottom trigram, we will read in our primary hexagram as solid, solid, broken. Which gives us dewy, lake or marsh. Dewy is lake and marsh, abundant energy that teems with life. She is the impulse to communicate, share and exchange, and delights in both inner and outer conversation. She brings things into circulation and gives them voice. This is the sheer enjoyment of participating in life to the full, expressing ourselves and hearing others and satisfying our desires. Lake is the youngest daughter, spirit of the fertile west and of autumn. Our top or outer trigram of our primary hexagram is going to be read as solid, solid, solid. And that is Qian, heaven. Qian is suprahuman cosmic law. Enduring, he determines the nature and development of all things, from the movement of the stars to the cycle of the seasons, to causing each individual seed to grow into its own kind of plant. Heaven is creativity in its pure form, the force that drives change, and what endures within it. He confronts us with truth and what it demands, both as the absolute law of nature and as the challenge of individual calling, experienced as an inner law. He is both the awareness of what to do and how to be, and also the power to act on it. Heaven is Father, found in the northwest, the realm between autumn and winter, when the buds set and seeds fall to earth. That will give us a primary hexagram of 10. Once our bottom trigram, the first and second lines transform, that will give us a secondary hexagram or supporting hexagram. So that will transform these three lines from solid, solid, broken to broken, broken, broken. It transforms the old yang into young yin. And so that trigram then will be Kun Earth. Kun is Earth, open to receive and support what comes to her, providing for its full development. She makes inspiration manifest, gives it form, and sustains its growth. Earth is available to be used, ready to lend her strength to the work without limit. She protects and accepts all things in their totality, present and potential, in an unconditional embrace. Earth is mother, found in the southwest and the harvest time of late summer and early autumn. So our primary hexagram will be lake or marsh, dewy above heaven, Quan. And, oh, hold the phone, sorry. No, it'll be heaven above lake or marsh. And then once that hexagram transforms, the first and second line transform, it'll give us heaven above earth, which will be hexagram 12. How are hexagrams and changing lines relate to one another to answer our general question that we bring to the I Ching when we consult the oracle? The general question being, how can I relate to, how can I act in creative relation to the spirit or forces shaping this moment of time? The key to understanding a reading is to know your way around its main components, how they fit together, and the different roles they play. If your reading includes changing lines, then you will need to understand primary hexagram, relating hexagram, and changing lines together. The two hexagrams in conversation with one another map out your whole answer. The primary hexagram shows you quite directly what your answer involves. The relating hexagram generally describes what the answer is about for you. It sets the primary hexagram in a broader context, an influence, a direction of travel, an underlying issue that has to do with you and your relationship to it all. If the two hexagrams map out a landscape for you, then the changing lines stick a pin in that map to say you are here, or at least here are some places you may find yourself. They are the immediate answer to your question. As the most specific, focused part of a reading, their message always takes precedence over all other elements. For example, the primary hexagram might describe a reassuringly secure situation, but a changing line could warn how insecure your position is within it. We'll start out reading from the Taoist I Ching, written by I-ming in 1796 as a Taoist adept and has been translated by Thomas Cleary. Hexagram 10 is defined in the beginning of this as treading, progress, advance of the positive, prevention of danger by caution, empowerment by calmness and trust. Once it transforms to hexagram 12, it'll be obstruction. Submitting inwardly to personal desire, acting aggressively outwardly. And now we will read the translation of the Taoist I Ching on hexagram 10, treading our primary hexagram. Even when they tread on a tiger's tail, it doesn't bite people. This is developmental. Explanation. Treading means forward progress. As for the qualities of the hexagram, above is heaven, strong, and below is lake, joyous. Yin is rejoicing in yang. With the advance of one yin, the hexagram will change into pure yang. Representing this, it is therefore called treading. This hexagram symbolizes progression of yang and prevention of danger. It follows on the preceding hexagram, a cord. In a cord, yin follows yang. But if you want yin to follow, it is necessary first to advance yang. When the progression of yang reaches proper balance, yin naturally follows it. This is the appropriate priority of the path of advancing yang. The true yang in people is inherent and need not be sought from another. When it mixes with acquired conditioning, true feeling is obscured and arbitrary feelings arise. Then true yang runs away outside. This is likened to a tiger running off and staying elsewhere as a member of another house. Though it is in another house, originally the tiger is one's own. It is just that people are not willing to call it back. The way of calling it back is not sought in heaven or earth or fire or water, but only in lake. Lake is the youngest daughter. In the so-called temporal arrangement of the trigrams are associated with members of a family. Heaven is father, earth is mother, thunder is eldest son, wind is eldest daughter, water is middle son, fire is middle daughter, mountain is youngest son, and lake is youngest daughter. Lake, as the youngest daughter, travels the path of receptive submission in place of Mother Earth, and is able to revert to yang by the culmination of yin. Its nature is harmonious and joyous. Being harmonious, it can relax. Being joyous, it can trust. Being relaxed, it can go gradually. Trusting, it can endure long. Able to relax and trust, powerful practice unrelenting, it is thereby possible to advance to the stage of indestructible firmness and strength, to again see the original face of heaven, and not be injured by false yin and false yang. This is likened to treading on a tiger's tail without its biting people, and having a way of development and growth. A tiger is something that bites people. It is most dangerous to tread on it. If one can tread with harmony and joyfulness, without excessive ferocity, it is like treading on a tiger's tail. If one is careful, as if treading on a tiger's tail, looking ahead and behind, striking a balance without obsession or indifference, proceeding gradually in an orderly manner, forestalling danger, aware of perils, carrying out the firing process without error, then the yin can be transmuted into yang, and the yang can be restored to purity. Not only is one not bitten by the tiger, one can even take over the living energy in its killing and preserve life and being whole. This path of development and achievement without obstruction or hindrance through advancement of yang, treading strongly with harmony and joy, is of great benefit. Our supporting hexagram 12, obstruction. Obstruction's denial of humanity doesn't not make the superior person's rectitude beneficial. The great goes and the small comes. Explanation. Obstruction means blockage. As for the qualities of the hexagram, inside is earth, submissive, and outside is heaven, strong. Submitting to one's desires, outwardly acting adamant. Negative energy is in charge, while positive energy retreats. Because strength and receptivity are separated, it is called obstruction. This hexagram represents yin and yang not joining. It follows on the previous hexagram, treading. Treading is promoting strength with harmony and joyfulness, causing yin and yang to join, so strength and receptivity are united. In general, when yin and yang do not combine, true yin changes into false yin, and true yang changes into false yang. The primordial is lost and false energy enters. False energy enters and true energy recedes. That is why obstruction's denial of humanity does not make the superior person's rectitude beneficial. Denial of humanity is false energy. The superior person is true energy. When the primordial has not been injured and true yang is within, the single mass of true energy is the superior person. When the primordial has been lost and the true yang is scattered externally, whatever the body has is false energy. To follow that conditioned yin, indulging in emotions and giving free rein to desires without any limit, is denying humanity. That denying humanity is not beneficial to the superior person means that false energy is not beneficial to true energy. At this time, the practitioner of the Tao should get rid of intellectualism and gather the energy and spirit within to preserve true yang, particularly at this disadvantageous time, just when the great goes and the small comes, when negative energy does things. If one does not know how to forestall danger, one will increasingly produce obstruction, and it will be very disadvantageous. We'll now read the most focused, specific part of our reading, the changing lines, which are changing lines 1 and 2 of hexagram 10, treading. And they will have the general context of changing line 1, inklings just beginning to sense what could be involved or needed, and line 2, the heart's perception, the emotional center where you make and feel connections. Changing line 1 of hexagram 10, treading. Treading plainly, going without fault. Explanation. Those with strength of mind and robust energy, who are plain and sincere in treading the path, are able to tread it with confidence in their steps. If they proceed in this way, they will surely progress to where there is no fault. This is treading with firmness of purpose. Changing line 2. Treading the path evenly, the aloof person is upright and fortunate. Explanation. With happiness in balance, there is naturally true joy, and one is not attracted to artificial enjoyment. No external things can move one, so one therefore treads the path evenly. Treading that is even is without greed, without craving. The mind is at peace, the spirit tranquil. Only the aloof person who consistently remains upright can tread the path happily, forgetful of the years. We will read further commentary from the back by I-ming on hexagram 10 and 12, keeping in mind that our changing lines were still the most specific part of the reading. Treading, heaven above, lake below. Above is the sky, below is a lake, treading. Thus do superior people distinguish above and below, and settle the will of the people. Treading means progressive ascent. Above is heaven, below is lake. The sky covers the lake. The lake looks up to the sky. So above and below have fixed positions which cannot be mixed up. This is the image of treading. What superior people see in this is that the metaphysical is called the Tao and the physical is called the vessel. There is a distinction between the greater and lesser, a difference between the noble and the base. The higher is not to be considered lower, and the lower is not to be considered higher. The greater is not to be considered lesser. The lesser is not to be considered greater. The noble is not to be considered base. The base is not to be considered noble. This is whereby to distinguish above and below and settle the will of the people, not allowing transgression through false ideas. The celestial is the ruler. This is higher, above. The earthly is the citizenry. This is lower, below. When one can distinguish the higher and lower, then right and wrong, sanity and aberration are clear, not doing anything inappropriate, sustaining the celestial and controlling the earthly, cultivating the real and dissolving the false, thoughts not arising inwardly, external things not entering the mind. Myriad things are all empty of absoluteness, and all mundane feelings involved with objects are settled. In the body of the hexagram, lake is the mundane, representing arbitrary feelings. Heaven is the celestial, representing true sense. When the mundane treads under the celestial, and the celestial treads on top of the mundane, then arbitrary feelings do not arise, and true sense is always present. True sense is unemotional sense. Using unemotional sense to control feelings is like a cat catching a mouse, like boiling water being poured on snow. In a short time, calamity turns to fortune. The will of the people is settled, and there is nothing to thwart the Tao. Then one gradually puts into practice the pure, unadulterated vitality of firm strength in proper balance. But settling the will of the people is all a matter of being able to distinguish the higher and the lower. The stability attained will be in proportion to the degree in which this distinction is successfully made. If there is any lack of clarity in this distinction, there will be that much instability. Therefore, the sage's science of fulfillment of nature and comprehension of life requires thorough investigation of principle as the first step. Hexagram 12, Obstruction, heaven above, earth below. When heaven and earth do not commune, there is obstruction. The superior person, therefore, is parsimonious with power and avoids trouble, not susceptible to elevation by emolument. Obstruction is blockage. Above is heaven, below is earth. The energy of earth rises up from below, the energy of heaven descends from above. The energies of heaven and earth, the celestial and the mundane, do not mix, and myriad things are stifled. This is the image of obstruction. What superior people see in this is that heaven and earth, yin and yang, do not mix. Myriad things are inert, and when the celestial and the earthly and the human being do not commune, natural reality is damaged. Therefore they are reserved and reclusive at the appropriate times, sparing with their powers and qualities, thus avoiding trouble, not susceptible to elevation by emolument. To be parsimonious with power means to banish intellectualism, to conceal one's illumination and nurture it in secret, borrowing the temporal to preserve the primordial, not letting any external influences adulterate natural reality. This is because once people get mixed up in acquired conditioning, the false comes and the real departs. The mind is seduced by things. The nature is deranged and life is destabilized. No obstruction is more of a hindrance than this. No trouble is more of a problem than this. If one does not know to escape quickly, As soon as there is any ambition for honor or material gain, or any emotional feeling about objects of sense, this will cause even more obstruction. How can then one avoid injurious trouble? Not susceptible to being elevated to a high post in the world, one is not moved by glory or emolument, much less by petty gains. The words parsimonious with power are very pregnant, involving many things and most detailed effort. Whatever talent or knowledge one has, one should hide it and be stolid as a monumental rampart, forgetting others and self, having power yet not being conscious of it. If one is conscious of one's power, that is not being parsimonious. Precisely because one is not conscious of one's power, one cannot be elevated by emolument. If emolument cannot elevate one, the trouble is no longer there, and the obstruction disappears of itself. Thus, though the earthly and the celestial do not commune at first, they will inevitably join in the end. So the effect of avoiding trouble by being parsimonious with power is not small. Hexagram 10 out of Hilary Barrett's I-ming commentary. Treading. Key questions. Where is the tiger? Do you know how to work with such power? Oracle. Treading a tiger's tail, it does not bite people, creating success. There are tigers in the outer world and also inner tigers. As you get close, it's good to recognize the tiger for what it is. Treading the tiger's tail is perilous, yet if you can move in harmony with it, you can invite its power into your own life as protection, fertility, and blessing. To do this without getting bitten requires both skill and care. Look to the power and intensity you are drawn to in the situation. Its specific danger is there, and also its potential gift. Image. Heaven above, lake below. Treading. A noble one differentiates above and below, and makes a place for the people's aspiration. The depths of the sky are reflected in the lake as it dances below heaven. An awareness of other dimensions of reality enters inner dialogue, and this becomes aspiration. It's as natural for people to aspire as it is for the lake to reflect. By marking out the difference between above and below, a noble one shows there is a direction to travel and a distance to cross. This means differentiating the ideal you aspire to from your step-by-step progress as you follow it. Sequence. Treading follows from Hexagram 9, small taming. Things are tamed, and then there are the rituals, and so treading follows. First, you learn the rules for working with great power, inwardly or outwardly, and then you can move with it more freely and harmoniously. Supporting Hexagram 12, blocked. Key questions. What work can you do when nothing is working? Who are you when no one is noticing? Oracle. Blocking it. Non-people. Noble one's constancy bears no fruit. Great goes, small comes. Nothing moves or grows. Communication doesn't happen. Everything is negated and blocked, and this is because of non-people. That may mean that some people are a consistently, exclusively, and pathologically negative influence and sabotage all attempts at progress. It can also refer to perceiving someone as not quite a real person, explaining their behavior with labels and stereotypes rather than seeking to understand. In both cases, there's a complete failure of empathy. This means that your very best and strongest efforts come to nothing. You can have a soaring imaginative concept of the creative possibilities here. You can have the will to be true to that concept and carry it through. You're not doing anything wrong. The problem is that these creative possibilities are just not available when things are blocked. Small concerns dominate. The adaptive response is not to strive constantly to rise to a higher level, but to focus your attention on the small details, the immediate, uninspiring reality. Image. Heaven and earth do not interact. Blocked. A noble one uses his strength sparingly to avoid hardship. He does not allow himself honors and payment. Inspiration soars upward. The opportunities for its realization sink ever further out of reach below. There is no creative connection between the two. The noble one has noticed that the harder you bang your head against a brick wall, the more bruised you get, and so he is economical with his energy and talents. Equally, he does not look for rewards under this regime. The ones who are rewarded now are not noble. He has other priorities than external results and recognition. Sequence. Blocked follows from Hexagram 11, flow. Things cannot end with flowing together, and so blocked follows. Effortless communication and mutual openness is a beautiful thing, but it cannot last forever, and perhaps it's somehow incomplete. Could it be that we need to be blocked and cut off so we can grow more strongly from deeper roots? Changing lines 1 and 2 of hexagram 10, treading. Line 1, plain treading going on, no mistake. What can you do when you realize you're not where you want to be? Simple. You move on, following your desire, lightly and responsively and without fuss. There's no way to control everything or plan it all in advance. No need to wrestle with the tiger just because it's there. You can only take one step at a time. So what is your simplest next step? Line 2. Treading the path, smooth and easy. A hermit's constancy brings good fortune. Hermits are hidden people in retreat in the mountains. They walk their path with constancy, freedom, and ease because they are not concerned with anything other than their path. They don't take on responsibilities that are not their own. They are not influenced by negative relationships. They don't act out of the desire to have a particular effect or get a particular reaction from others. And so, their path is naturally smooth and their treading is harmonious. We read this yesterday. Pretty sure. So let's get at least an additional. That'll do it. 64. Read out of the Tao Te Ching, hexagram, chapter 20 and 64. What's interesting about that also is that I did a reading yesterday during the day that the sound didn't work on, and I pulled 20 then as well. And then yesterday when I did the reading at night, like 3 a.m., I also pulled 20, and then I pulled 20 now, so apparently 20 is needed. Give up learning and put an end to your troubles. Is there a difference between yes and no? Is there a difference between good and evil? Must I fear what others fear? What nonsense. Other people are contented, enjoying the sacrificial feast of the ox. In spring, some go to the park and climb the terrace, but I alone am drifting, not knowing where I am. Like a newborn babe before it learns to smile, I am alone, without a place to go. Others have more than they need, but I alone have nothing. I am a fool. Oh yes, I am confused. Other men are clear and bright, but I alone am dim and weak. Other men are sharp and clever, but I alone am dull and stupid. Oh, I drift like the waves of the sea, without direction, like the restless wind. Everyone else is busy, but I alone am aimless and depressed. I am different. I am nourished by the Great Mother. And 64. Well, peace is easily maintained. Trouble is easily overcome before it starts. The brittle is easily shattered. The small is easily scattered. Deal with it before it happens. Set things in order before there is confusion. A tree as great as a man's embrace springs from a small shoot. A terrace 9 stories high begins with a pile of earth. A journey of 1,000 miles starts under one's feet. He who acts defeats his own purpose. He who grasps loses. The sage does not act, and so is not defeated. He does not grasp, and therefore does not lose. People usually fail when they are on the verge of success. So give as much care to the end as to the beginning. Then there will be no failure. Therefore the sage seeks freedom from desire. He does not collect precious things. He learns not to hold on to ideas. He brings men back to what they have lost. He helps the 10,000 things find their own nature, but refrains from action.